Would you say you're an expert?
Yeah. Yeah, I would consider myself an expert. I'm the top scientist here at discovering if people are good at things, especially children. So this is a graph that represents the probability that a child will be good at something, and down on the x-axis is the child number or their order in their family, starting with the oldest. The oldest child, it's about 50-50 that this child will succeed and that this child will consider themselves good at something. So they're about here, and none of these markers are working. So they're here, about 50%. The second child feels the pressure to succeed and does better than the oldest child. So they'll be somewhere about 75%. Then after the second child, it always goes down. The third child is slightly less. Then you have the fourth, and fifth, and sixth. And keep in mind these are probabilities and not the amount of success they have. It is quite likely that the fifth child will be the most successful and will have the most success. But these simply represent probabilities. The seventh child actually has negative probability to succeed. And we don't know how that works. We just figured it out using science.
It went through 3 people.
When I first started my research, I was much more concerned about what people call the only child syndrome, and the pressures that come with being an only child. But as I studied more and more, I realized the pressure shifts to bigger families with more than one child. And initially I thought the oldest child must feel the most pressure to do something good, to do something great, to, I guess, excel.
Nice. You really have to collapse
What's the key to eating so much chicken?
I like to imagine the end goal and just all that chicken in my belly. That usually helps me get through the hard times. Yeah, just think about all the little kids in Africa that don't have a lot of food. That helps me stuff my face a lot. It's a special technique.
But we discovered, or the studies revealed, that the oldest child often feels no pressure. They feel like they are good at things that nobody can be good at. Things like walking, or smelling, or eating. Everyday things that we do without even thinking about it. And they believe they're good at them. That is because their parents tell them things like, oh, you're such a good eater, or oh, you can walk really fast, or things that they're compliments and good for the children, but the oldest child latches onto these and believes they are good at those things, when in reality, they're average.
Good, Vic. Eric. What's up? Time. Keep talking, guys. Have time. Got time. Open up. Keep running, guys. Alright.
Just say how you think the game went.
Went really well. It's really good, especially because, you know, they pass the ball a lot to me, and I just make things happen, you know?
So-
whether it's in the net or to another player for an assist, you know, I'm like 100% on those.
So
Yeah.
you would say soccer is something you're good at.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
What is Teva good at?
I don't know.
What are the effects of not being good at something? It's interesting you say that. I have a brother that isn't good at anything. He can't, well, he's good at things, but we can't tell him he's good at things.
Why not? Why don't you tell him?
Because that would hurt his idea that he's good at not being good at anything. So the effects are, you take a sense of pride in not being good at anything. And that's something that some people really like, and I don't want to destroy that in my brother. He's very smart and he's talented. He knows way more state capitals than I'll ever know. But I can't tell him that. It would destroy what he thinks of himself.
So am I supposed to refer to Teva?
Yeah, you can refer to Teva.
Okay. Alright, my name is Dallin Shumway. I'm Teva's sister. Currently, I'm studying to be a fashion designer. I'd have to say that, you know, when it comes to this dress, that fire was one of my major inspirations for this. It's really nice. This one, however, I took a lot of inspiration from Frozen. You know, the whole song, let it go, and then her dress goes from this to this. I find a lot of inspiration not only in like the elements, but also in Disney movies. I really feel like they help show the emotion that one looks for as an artist. But yeah, it's kind of my hobby. I just really like this. It's really fun, like coming up with the designs, getting them on paper, but then actually like creating something out of them. You know, I've mastered style.
You've mastered style.
Yes.
Can I see what you're wearing now?
Of course.
Did you make those yourself, those shorts?
Yes, I did.
How long did it take you to make those?
2 minutes.
That's pretty good.
And so recently, what I want to show you here is the new book that I came out with called New Skin. It's a very popular book that just came out. And as you can see, what this book is about is it just shows us the same patterns over and over and over and over.
How do you know if you are good at something? It's like being in a fire. When you're in the fire, you know you're in the fire. When you're outside of the fire, you're not on fire, so you know that you're not there in the fire. And that's what it's like. That's what I could say it's most like.
No, just
Show some of my
start
dance moves.
your dance moves.
Okay. These are some of my dance
Just
moves.
start doing.
Okay, first one. Lunchbox salute. Lunchbox salute. Bear the nut, bear the nut, bear the nut, bear the nut. Disco binoculars. Disco binoculars. Disco binoculars. Disco binoculars. Kick. Waterfall.
So the pressure is now on
Kick.
the youngest child to succeed. They see their older siblings and what they can do good. And they either don't try because they feel like they can't be as good, or they try and they fail and they realize that they aren't good at anything. It is a very lonely
Okay.
feeling.
So, what's your name
Tava Shumway,
and how old are you?
16.
And where do you fall in the family?
I'm the youngest.
You're the youngest.
Yeah.
So, what do you think you're good at?
I don't think really anything.
So that you don't do well in anything?
Well, I just don't think that anything that I do is very special.
You were recently in the newspaper for your humanitarian efforts. Can you explain more about that?
It's no big deal, and I just try to do my part.
Is it important for you to be good at something?
No, I just want to be a better person, and it doesn't really matter to me what anybody else thinks.
Think of a caterpillar observing a group of butterflies. The caterpillar looks at the butterflies and knows that in himself there is greatness, that he can become one day like the butterfly, that he can fly, that he can have colorful wings, and that he can do all these extraordinary things. But not right now, because right now it is still a caterpillar. So the caterpillar waits for the day until it can become a butterfly. It builds a cocoon around itself, and emerges from the cocoon and can't wait to see what kind of butterfly it is. So it flies over to the window and discovers that it did not turn into a butterfly, but it turned into a moth. And that is what it's like to be the youngest child. You are a moth in a field of butterflies.
There was a time when I was alone, nowhere to go and no place to call home. My only friend was the man in the moon, and even sometimes he would go away too. Then one night as I closed my eyes, I saw a shadow flying high. He came to me with the sweetest smile and told me he wanted to talk for a while. He said, "Peter Pan, that's what they call me. I promise that you'll never be lonely." And ever since that day, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they'd say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home. Lost boys like me are free. He sprinkled me in pixie dust and told me to believe in him and believe in me. Together we will fly away to a sea of green, to our beautiful destiny. As we soared across a town that never loved me, I realized I finally had a family. Soon then we reached Neverland. Peacefully my feet hit the sand. And ever since that day, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home. Lost boys like me are free. Neverland is home. Lost boys like me are free. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, Wendy, darling, even Captain Hook, you're my perfect storybook. Neverland, I love you so, you are now my home, sweet home forever, lost boy at last. Peter Pan, Tinkerbell, Wendy, darling, even Captain Hook, you are my perfect storybook. Neverland, I love you so, you are now my home, sweet home forever, lost boy at last. And always I will say, I am a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan. And when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. Run, run, lost boy, they say to me, away from all of reality. Neverland is home to lost boys like me. Lost boys like me are free. Neverland is home to lost boys like me. Lost boys like me are free.